Hello everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining me. It's a absolute privilege for me to be able to get on this call and share with you so many topics today that I'm so passionate about. The health coaching industry is such an important and such a powerful industry, and it's playing such an important role in our own lives and improving other people's lives. And, at the same time, it's also important, from my perspective, that health coaches are adequately supported, and that includes financially. I don't think that any of us became health coaches, let's be honest, to become millionaires. It wasn't, of course, so many of us have come from our hearts. We are just wanting to help people. We got into this probably initially to heal our own health issue or to become of service to others in that way. And one thing that I have realized along my path as a health coach with great certainty is that to be healthy physically also means to be healthy financially. So today I'm very excited and very proud, to be honest, to present the content of my webinar, which talks about what you need to do to get to your first 5K month as a health coach, which is something that I've done personally when I first set up my health coaching business. And in fact, I've gone on to take it a lot further from there, so I can, share a lot of that with you along the way as well. We're going to go through the 5-step strategy that I followed initially, like I said, to get my health coaching business making a consistent $5,000 plus per month. And then at the end of the webinar, for those of you who are wanting to know more, specifically, how this would apply for you. Some of you have already been emailing me like, can I work with you one-on-one on this topic, or wanting more accountability, personal attention on any of these topics that we discussed today. I will take a few minutes right at the end to let you know how my private coaching works. And at that time, I'll also be taking questions, whether or not you choose, to work with me on an ongoing basis. That's not the point of this call by any means, which is why I leave that to the end. But at the end, I'm happy to answer questions for anyone on any of the content that I've talked about here today. So as we go through the webinar, you can be writing these questions down. There's a chat box on the right, which I won't be looking at until the end, but my assistant, Joanna, who is on there with you at the moment, is happy to help you out in any ways for those. So get your questions kind of lined up and ready to go. Now, before we get into it, a little bit more of a background for me. I can see, I was going to turn the chat box off. I can see that one of two of you have got a little bit of cutting in and out. I'm going to assume that the line is fine for most of you, unless Joanna let me know if there's any major technical difficulties. But other than that, carrying on, bit of a background for me, because obviously some of you on here know me, some of them you are already friends or clients, and others, this is the first time we're meeting. So my name is Amanda Daly, and I actually started my career in advertising, online advertising. I was actually part of the initial startup team for eBay in the UK, so I had a lot early 2000s to do with online advertising, online marketing, understanding that space. And then I went on for the next 15 years to work in the online advertising space in big, major advertising agencies. So I worked for the likes of Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Nokia, here in Australia, Telstra, which is the main telco, a lot of the big names. And, I loved it at the time. It was fantastic. I was so passionate about getting messages out to the world and being creative and having fun. And then for some of you who know the story from when I was, talking about it a lot as a health coach, I completely burnt out from the hours, many things actually, which I blamed on that industry at the time. It's not so much the case, if I'm honest, but like I think a lot of us on this call, I then went on this desperate search in some ways to how do I get my own health right? How can I keep up with everyone else who's seemed quite willing and happy to stay up all night and work, for a client job, or just kind of happy to live that, I want to say 9 to 5, but it certainly wasn't, happy to work in some ways on someone else's schedule. And that was becoming more of an issue for me. And then probably like many of you, I started training it, to become a health coach, and just fell in love with it so much that I kind of found myself leaving my job and just setting up as a health coach. Like it just kind of, I don't know, I just had to do it. And really through that process, I built it wasn't easy to start with. I learned, as I'm going to share with you today, that there's a lot of things that we don't learn in our health qualifications, and that's because we're learning to be a health coach. And the main thing of a health coach or a nutrition school is to give you those skills. And of course, they give us a little bit of business, but what I found very quickly is that it wasn't getting me clients. I was sitting at home with no job, really going, oh my gosh, like, where do these magical clients come from? I've got this website, I've got this kind of marketing plan that I thought was just gonna, the money was gonna roll in the door, and it certainly didn't. So I invested heavily. I knew the power of online business. I wanted to work out how it worked more from a personal brand when we're not putting out, for the big companies who have got millions to spend in the first place. And essentially just invested, sucked up everything I could, aligned myself with any of the mentors that I knew were playing great in this game. I already had a lot of friends also doing well in the health coaching industry. And I really just did what it took to get my clients in the door, because it wasn't really an option for me not to. I was so passionate, and I had such a big message that I wanted to share with the world at that time, predominantly about not needing to burn out to be working well, that to me it was actually selfish to sit at home and say I don't know what to do. It means, I had to kind of find the money. I did some freelance work. I went back and did some advertising work to get that money, to get this message and get the business skills I needed to get this message out to the world. And very quickly I learned so much about the bigger scheme of online marketing, and then also really got it that that's what I had done in the advertising world for the big players. And I was quite happy. I'm going to share with you how that quickly became consistent, 5K months, up to 16K months. Even in my first few months as a health coach, there were different reasons for that. Right down again to 0 months in that spiral time as well. And I'm going to share that process with you. But really, how I'm here today is more and more health coaches kept contacting me, can I mentor with you? Or they'd sign up for my health coaching program and would end up working on their business. So for myself, kind of seeing the results and the need out there, I also did some work, on my own kind of advertising journey to make peace with that. And now I am just so super grateful for having 15 years experience in that way of how to get messages out there, because I believe we are all predominantly women on this call today who know that there's more. We know that there's a message to get out there, and we just know that there's no option to play small. We need to help. There's change that needs to be, made in the world, and that can't happen if no one knows you're there. It simply can't. People don't just go randomly looking around the internet for, I need a health coach, and Google health coach and find you and click on your buy button. It just does not happen that way, full stop. So on that note, let's get into the actual 5 steps that I have created. As I mentioned at the end, I'll let you know how I work with private clients, and this strategy, this 5-step strategy, is from that program. These are the exact 5 steps that I run through in that program. In fact, I'll get Joanna to put in the chat box for you all the link to that program. So you might want to, have a little bit of a browse through that if you want while we're on the video or afterwards. So step number 1 is knowing what your dream business and lifestyle looks like. Now, this might sound like counterintuitive, maybe. So many people come to me and they're like, but I just want to get the client. Like, where's the strategy? They want the masculine strategy for getting the next client, and I understand. But what I do know absolutely is that as women, we have desires, we have dreams, we have a purpose. And that has, I'd say for almost everyone, been shoved down and shoved down and shoved down. or not even shoved down, we've just never been encouraged to really look at what we want in life. And even if we did know what we want, you know, I want a super yacht and I want to fly first class and I want a house on the beach. Most of the time, we've been brought up to either not look at that because we think we can't get there, or we've been told, don't be stupid, you know, that's not for you, we don't have the money, maybe parents, you know, all these things along the way. So we've never really got honest about what we want from life. And I think there's a step often when we start to become a health coach or train for another profession where we're like, yes, I know there's more and I'm going to make this happen. But what can happen very quickly is, and I did this to start with, all of these are from my lessons and learnings, we kind of go then and grab another model of a business that we've seen someone else doing. And there's plenty of health coaches out there who have shown us like a business blogging model of, look at my fabulous lifestyle. You can have the same if you just become a health coach. You know, just buy the health coaching package and your life will change. And so many people go down that track and start health coaching in that way. And it's still not lighting them up. And it's still not really giving them that dream buzz that they were looking for. They're not really jumping out of bed with excitement. And the truth is, it's because they haven't built the foundation of their business on their own dream, their own wishes, and their own desires and purpose, essentially. Again, they've come out and just carbon copied what someone else has done. And this is easy to do coming out of some of the bigger health coaching schools, because you are given like a formula. You know, here's your 12-step program. This is how you go out and market it. This is the website you put. And then it becomes like cookie cutter health coaches out there. Not only do you then find that you're not making the money you want, it's not the lifestyle you want, you're blogging or whatever, like anything, and getting nothing, but you're really frustrated because you feel like, why don't I have this popularity, or why don't I have this unique message like other people have? The truth is you do, but you need to start there. You need to get really honest first about what it is you want in your life. When you get clear about what you want in your life, then you create your own unique business and business model that fuels you, not the other way around. We're not waiting until the health coaching business has taken off for us then to finally have money, to finally be free, to finally, you know, leave the job and then I'll be happy. It doesn't work that way. This is our chance now to take forward another step. We've already taken control of our lives in so many ways. I know this as health coaches. It's why we're so excited to coach others. We know things can change. And now is the time for us to choose to create that for ourselves. And it starts with saying, what do I want to create? So really getting honest, deep diving on your dreams and desires. How would this business really look for you? Honestly, it might sound exciting to have 40 clients a week, but does that really actually work in your life? Would that really excite you? Would that really, the energy around that, like, would you actually be quite tired? And this is where you need to get in what I call reality at the beginning on your business model. Again, some of these programs will tell you, you know, blanket prices, $75 an hour for a client or something like that. And if you've ever done the maths on how many clients you'd actually need to do at that price point, you would absolutely be burnt out. I mean, most people would be completely burnt out anyway. So building a business model that fuels you and not the other way around is absolutely that first step. As part of that, as you can hear me talking, this is the number one part of walking your talk as a health professional. You can't be out there kind of telling other people how to create their lives and make change, etc., and then you're not following your truth. You're actually just following what you saw someone do online, or what you saw, you know, your nutrition school or whatever told you to do. This is your chance now in business as well to step into your power and be honest about what's true for you. What is your essentially purpose for doing this? Which, you know, pulls us into step 2, which is your unique branding and packages. What is your unique message? Once we're clear on how you want your life, and we're going to create this business model from the beginning that's going to fuel your life, what is it really that you're here to share with the world? Be honest. Like, we all know there's this yearning in us, this pulling that's pulled us to health coaching because we want to help others. But what is it that you want to say? Like, what is it that if you stood up on stage today and had this chance of this dream audience, what is it, like your big message that you want them to know? This is going to bring out your uniqueness. It's not copying what you saw someone else. Even, for example, if you had cancer, obviously you've been through a very delicate, a very traumatic, a very empowering story, for example, and I'm just putting that out there as one example for the sake of today. That doesn't mean necessarily because you saw someone else online blogging about cancer that that's your big message in the world. This is a common one actually that I have coached people on, and when we get really clear on actually maybe talking about that isn't a part that actually lights you up, that you're excited to help people with. Maybe you're more excited about helping other mothers like yourself bring up their kids. And there's a real difference in what lights people up and what they think they should be doing based on what they've seen. So this step 2 is getting really clear on your unique message, even if you haven't seen it out in the world yet. And then as a result, as part of that step 2, creating then, being brave enough to create your own products. You don't need to follow the 6-step or the 10 or the 12-step, wherever you trained that they've taught you. Yes, you've got all that knowledge. Yes, you can help people, but bring some of you into that. All of us to this stage, everything in our life so far has got us to where we are today. So look back in this part of being uniquely you and your personal brand. What else is it? Is it that you go horse riding every weekend and we can bring that into your brand? Doesn't mean you're going to be teaching people how to horse ride, but bringing more of you to the table. Is it that you take your kids to hockey each weekend and that's going to bring in a flavor of who you are honestly? People want to see in personal brands you. They don't want to see what they can Google. If they wanted a formula for a green smoothie and, how to eat grains and how to eat protein, they can Google that. As women in today's age, internet age, also where we're going forward in society, I believe, women learn from other women, and right now we're learning from women on the internet. And I think so many of us have been inspired initially by some of the models that we've seen on the internet because it's given us permission to look at another career. It's given us permission to go, I could be in charge of my own money. It's given us permission to say, I might not have to go in the 9 to 5, sit in the cubicle all day. But that's the inspiration that we've got. And now it's our turn to bring through our own messages to inspire others. On this personal branding thing, 3 of us could stand up on stage right now, or 2 of you could be sitting in this room with me, and we could all talk about green veggies, and a third of the audience would hear it from me, a third from you, and a third from you. Because it's people connect on personality, they connect on like values, and they connect on feeling like they're understood. So if you're putting out the cookie cutter, option, there's really no emotional pull. There's really no emotional reason why, in some ways, why they would trust you, especially if things are online. So we want to create a personal brand for you and personal packages that are so you. One of my kind of, tingly feelings of success, if I can say that, for clients, when I get to the end of working with them, or depending on how long we work, it's when I look at their website and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's you, like every part of you. And their friends and family are saying the same. Like we see them and their essence. Now, just to clarify this whole personal brand thing, it's like I said about the horses before. You can be a health coach. You can still offer the 12-step formula as your package if you want, with maybe a few tweaks here and there just to make it unique. But your brand can inspire in other ways. People are not going to buy from you because they know you drink a green smoothie. They're going to be inspired from you, from seeing what you're doing with that in your life as a result. What's it changed in you? How has it lit you up? How is your lifestyle different? How is your relationship with your kids so much more of a strong connection? These are the things that people are inspired by, and it's also things, it's beyond what we'll go into today, but it's actually the pain points that they're actually in. They're not in a pain point of not knowing how to make a green smoothie. They could Google that again. So we're making you ultimately a brand that no one else could Google. And we want you to have that brand and package, or you want this for yourself, so that when people get to your site, it's such a match. It's such a match with your values that that you've worked on for yourself and what you want in your life. You've got so clear on who that unique niche and target market is for you as a result of what fuels your business, that when this unique brand and package gets put in front of them, it's like a magnet. It just goes boom. Like, if someone does stumble across your site and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you're talking to me, tell me more. That's the reaction that we want. So those are the first two parts that cannot be missed on our way to a 5K month. The cookie cutter approach, in my opinion and my experience, doesn't work. And it can leave a lot of people really disappointed as well, because they're like, well, I did exactly what that other person was doing. Why didn't it work for me? So on your way to your first 5K months, we need to then step you into the mindset of being a business, you as a business. The other big mistake that I see people make is think that getting online and blogging, putting out Instagram photos, Facebook, etc., thinking that that alone will bring them clients. I'm not saying you can't get clients that way, and it's certainly part of your marketing plan, which we will get to in a minute. But in my first year of business, I did not get one client through any of those streams, and I have 8,000 or so people on Facebook. Not one client came from there. Not one client ever came to the website for the first time, clicked on the work with me and hit purchase. Never. It just doesn't happen that way. People need to feel like they know you, trust you, and basically like you. And there's marketing that comes into that, of course, but really it's about turning first your mindset into a business. And for women entrepreneurs especially, this can be a really hard piece to overcome that I certainly needed coaching and assistance through. And it's a key piece that I work with other women on, because we're not used to selling ourselves for money. God, that almost sounds terrible, doesn't it? And that's why. It's we're used to, here's the bottle of water, thank you, $3, thank you. We're used to receiving that. We're used to being fine with that exchange. And we think, okay, I've got this 12-step coaching program and it's, $1,800 or something, and thank you, thank you. But it's not. All of our fears come up. We're actually not selling that. We're selling ourselves. And this is where your self-worth and self-value is going to come together into a business mind. Like I said before, you've been on a journey. You've lived your life till now. You have all these talents, and you have this nutrition training as back up, now as a qualification that you can help other people. But this value piece is big. We need to believe in our value just as much as I believed in the value, the irony of it now, for Coca-Cola or, say Microsoft or whoever I worked for. Microsoft or Coca-Cola is probably a better example. When I worked for Coca-Cola, they had no issue whatsoever if they had a pop-up box on their website. There was nobody sitting there saying, oh, people aren't going to like me if I put a pop-up box. Oh, I'll be so judged as being selling if I put a pop-up box, or dare trying to get someone's email address. They didn't worry if they advertised on Facebook 4 times a day. They weren't worried what people thought in that way. They had a message to get out there, and they knew how to do it. Now, I'm not condoning that message. As many of you know, I, would not touch, and even when I worked for them, did not touch Coca-Cola. Many years ago, I did. And yet it's the same for us. There is no way that we can get a message out there if we're playing small and worrying about what people think. And we need to move into a business mindset. So with that, we need to get into some of the business tools. Now, there is the things that I've been talking about a little bit there also cover into our wealth consciousness, our beliefs around money. I actually believe that as health coaches, the next part of getting healthy is getting wealthy, because it's actually predominantly in the mind. Like, it's our mindset, our belief around money. And there's such an expansion out there that we just didn't even know was possible when we step into it. But at that first point, it's learning to be okay with selling. And that's not even that you're selling one-to-one yet. It's that you learn how to write copy that sells. You learn how to set up a website that sells. The templates that are given from the nutrition schools, etc., are not websites that sell. They are not a website that the likes of Microsoft would go and purchase. And there's a reason for that. We need to get into that mindset also of you as an expert and you as a business owner. There's a big difference, and I'm not saying one's right or wrong as such, but if you want to make money, there's a big difference in the mindset of a business owner and a blogger. Some people, of course, don't get me wrong, made amazing money from blogging. It's not that. But for most people, what we're looking for is more of a strategy to actually follow and get clients. So getting into the mindset of a business owner, there's so many points within that I could go into. Writing sales pages that actually sell your products combined with selling you. It's all coming back to selling you. Authentic selling. So when you're actually getting in person, health histories are a really common thing in the different nutrition schools. They don't sell. Full stop. They don't. I mean, I'm not saying you can't get clients from them. People do get clients from them, but there's strategy behind how you talk to people in those coaching sessions. They're not coaching sessions. That's the point. There's strategies behind how you talk to people when they are in a mindset of wanting to purchase from you. Let's be really honest. If you give someone a really full-on, amazing health history and coaching session on that call, they ring you and want to hear about it, and they're like, I need to lose some weight. Can you help me? And you are just like, I can help you. I've got this 12-step program, and I'm going to teach you to eat green veggies and go running and meditate, and I'll show you how to cook or shop at the local farmers market. And you're so enthusiastic, and you go through all their health issues, and you've got all these great ideas. You're like, do you want to sign up? And the person's like, overwhelmed to start with, because they don't know as much as you do. This is all new for them. Secondly, they've actually had an amazing session with you. They love it. Does that mean they're going to sign up with you? No, they're full, because you've given them a coaching session on the spot as opposed to a more of a health history or discovery session, which is slightly different. So learning to sell is you're actually harming that person if you're giving them too much. Can you see why? If they leave so hyped up and I can do this, Amanda, I'm going to go to the farmers markets tomorrow, I'm going to go for a run. Do you know what? I feel great. This session is the best thing. Thank you. I'll be fine by myself now. And you as a coach, yep, you'll be disappointed because you kind of wanted a new client. But it's beyond that. You've actually done them a disservice. Because this person, that the issues of why they're not running, the issue of why they're not eating that way in the first place goes deeper than that. That's where as health coaches we coach. We don't just teach, the principles of clean living. And you've actually robbed, as such, that opportunity from your client by letting them think that it's all okay if they just get hyped up from you and run out and follow this formula. In some cases they'll come back, but they probably won't, because really they reached out to you because they were in pain and they wanted you to help them. I could talk on that topic forever, but really that part of it is just turning a few of your mindsets, getting into yourself as a business, getting into that you're not a health coach to make friends with people. It's not that you're not a nice person wanting to be friends, but making yourself the expert, making yourself the professional. And you're no different than any other health provider. We're not the poor cousin. In fact, you are far beyond that with your life experience and your personality and your empathy and the programs that you're going to be offering people. But you need to be professional in that up front. And asking someone 1,000 questions about the health of their mother or father, this is for you to decide, but I don't think those answers are really going to help you know any more about how you can help them. And to be honest, it's not going to help them make a decision of whether working with you is right. If you spend a session asking questions like that, then hyping them up with your solutions. So step 4 is getting your marketing mojo on. This is all the pieces that I said, your marketing plan, your Facebook, your Newsletters, it is all important, don't get me wrong. No one, like I said, with the clients I worked on, they didn't sit behind the scenes, they got out there. And the biggest first hurdle on this for women entrepreneurs especially is being seen. No one really likes to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen, but actually getting out there and putting your name on it and putting your voice to it and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do now, this is what I can offer. And look, I've got this to offer you. I've got a program. I actually, want you, I've got something that you could pay for. This is so confronting for most women. I don't know that I know any entrepreneur who hasn't gone through this, actually. And there's marketing techniques that we learn to support that, and then we need the personal journey woven in to be comfortable with that. So ultimately, this one's a little harder to share on the phone. Like when I work with private clients, we go through and we create you a unique marketing plan. Why we do that is because there are so many tools out there. Let's be honest. Like, who hasn't seen there's a course for Facebook, there's a course for how to blog, there's a course for how to do your newsletter, there's a course for how to do sales calls. There's all these things that without some kind of plan, again, where what's the word? Like, I want to say faffing. I don't even know if that's a word. Like, we're kind of in a mess. As many of you know, I'm not about working in hard masculine structure, but at the same time, feminine energy needs to come with ease, not with this kind of all over the place mess of, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll try a Facebook ad today. That didn't get me any clients either. Well, maybe I'll write a blog. We need the masculine structure of a plan that's right for your business model, back to step one, that's going to, fuel you, so that we've got goals, targets, but more importantly, the plan, like knowing what's next, knowing that there's a tried and true formula that you can follow that will bring you consistent new leads, that will have you showing up in the right place, that has your copy and wording and everything right so that when people see it, they're like, oh, that's me. There's a difference when you start sending out newsletters in this way, when people are emailing you going, oh my gosh, it's like you're reading my mind. And then we go into creating like killer opt-ins, which are like freebies that you give on your site. So when someone does stumble across you at 2 a.m., desperately searching for something on the net that they didn't know what, they've been on Facebook, they click on a link, and they get to your site, there's two things that'll happen. They'll click off just as quickly, because you probably put your social media button on there or something to encourage them to do so. Or there's something amazing that you've created very strategically around what they are actually looking for. And this is why step 1 and 2, who you are, your brand, and your target market, are going to create these really killer like opt-ins that people, when they land on your site, are like, I need that. And they'll give you their email address, because they want to hear from you. And this is the thing that we need to realize. They want to hear from us. Everyone is in control. If they don't want to hear from us, everyone knows how to unsubscribe. Everyone knows how to not go to your blog if they don't want to hear from you. Everyone knows how to turn off Facebook or unsubscribe from your page if they don't want to hear from you. Give people credit. We're all grown-ups and quite mature in that way. So nobody really cares if you're selling too much. Or marketing too much. Like I say, the pop-up. People know how to close a pop-up. The reason I say this is because it's our fear that holds us back from putting our message out there, using the marketing tools and using the marketing plans that are available to us to put into place. And this is where it comes in most of the time for us, that we think people don't want to hear from us. It's the two biggest things. It's not knowing how to speak to them in the first place because we're not clear on who we are and our niche and what makes us different. And then it's being too scared to get out there and actually advertise ourselves. So all of that, Facebook advertising, Instagram, newsletters, what you actually do on your blog, all of those are very, very important because they're the pieces that I said before that people are going to get to know you. And you know what it's like. If there's a product or something that you love, or a magazine that you love, like, you want more of it. If there's a clothes shop you love going there more. In fact, you're going to get annoyed if the person isn't showing up and offering you more things. So there's a lot of mindset here, right, around the combination of the marketing tools which are available to us and putting those into a plan so that we're more organized and not all over the place, but also, again, holding our value and working on it's okay to be a business. Because without being okay to be a business, you're not going to make money, at least not in a consistent way that is going to make you feel supported. And on that point, I just wanted to say around this first 5K mark, I put 5K in because to me it was the number that once I got all these things going, it was the first time I got it consistent. Now, in my first few months of coaching, like most people, I did things for free to start with, and then I started having kind of like these, forward, jerk, back, forward, back. And I had like, say, I don't have it here, but it was something like, say, a 3K month, a 2K month, a 4K month, a 3K month, and then it went a 16K month, and then it went a 0, a 0, and a 0. So as entrepreneurs, this can be pretty stressful, right? Because we don't know what's coming next. And it's one of the biggest fears of like leaving your job. How do you know if you can, make it work? Like what, you've got bills to pay. It's the uncertainty and stability of income as an entrepreneur and definitely as a coach that you do need to manage. And look, I still manage it to this day. It's an interesting thing like, well, I made this much this month. What does that mean going forward? But what I do know is that there's an energetic wealth consciousness going on behind things. And when I looked back and graphed that, there was an average of 5K a month for those first few months. I mean, 16K and then nothing 3 months after or 2 months after. You can see that there was only so much I was actually able to receive at that month. It was 5K a month, which when I also then went through at the end of my first year, including having made nothing to start with, but then I was also getting big money freelancing. So it was kind of like these ups and downs. At the end of 12 months, I went back and I made exactly the same amount as I made in advertising the year before, which was pretty interesting. And interestingly, I thought I'd made kind of nothing, but there's an energy around what we can, work on. Receive is, sorry, what I'm trying to say. So absolutely, once you actually ground into that and get into some of the getting your wealthy healthy, as I call it, as well, you can see, okay, I'm at a 5K level. And you can also start to, there's a lot of work I can't go into today, but start to do mindset work and wealth consciousness work that makes you know and confident and comfortable that this is where you're at. And when you know exactly with your marketing plan, you know who you're talking to, you know your marketing plan, you're working on your mindset to become the pro, and you're like, okay, I need 4 clients, for example, or let's say you need 5 clients a month at $1,000 to make it easy. And once you know that they'll hit your $5,000 mark, if your package was $1,000, and then you just know that's what you're doing, you know that the marketing plan is set up for 5 clients, you know what you're trying to hit. It's not the scramble of, oh, I need money, I need a client. Like, there's desperation behind that, and people feel that, even if they're not conscious of it. So setting up that plan, knowing what your business model is to get to 5K a month is very easy using these marketing tools that we know. And then from there, you can grow. Once you're confident and comfortable that you can do this consistently, literally your confidence increases. Literally you step into being a business owner. And this is the 5th step that I'm going to talk through today, is going pro. So I've been talking about moving into the mindset of a business owner, and at the beginning I understand, like, we are by ourselves. And that's why the whole way through I always invested, I always got mentors. I don't believe as women that we can or are supposed to do this kind of work by ourselves. It's actually, if you take it seriously, if you take yourself seriously and the messages that you've got for the world and the part that you're going to play in creating that change, it's almost like, I don't mean this for you, but for myself it was kind of like, grow up, Amanda. Like, you don't need to work this out by yourself. You don't need to do it how you thought before. You don't have to work hard and struggle and prove just how much you deserve this money. It's not about that anymore. It's about you playing a bigger game, you getting out there and shining and get your message out to the world, and you do what it takes to do that to help others and to create the change. You will be rewarded when you do it from that way, which to the last thing is going pro. So actually then setting up your masculine structures, support team. Support team could be one person on the side, you know. Also in this point, it's especially if you're in countries other than America where a lot of the training's done, or depending on your own scenario actually, make sure you get your legal things sorted, your contracts, your schedule. Get your systems up and running. Like I've got a scheduling system which does all of those things for me now. I used to spend hours scheduling clients, and every time they changed. Setting up your own boundaries, outsourcing and delegating where needed, and actually continuing to advance your coaching skills. No business owner ever does, or no business ever does one small thing and goes, I now know it all. And I think that that point is where the confidence of so many women in the health coaching industry is lacking, because they've done a one-year course and deep down they know that they've got all this info, but they're like, is it enough? Am I enough? As women, our biggest fear is, am I enough? So, you know, to wrap all of that up, it's about owning our worth as this person in the health coaching industry. Owning who we are, owning our worth now as a business owner, not someone who's just dabbling and hoping that clients might fall out of the sky, and then actually going professional with that as soon as possible, continuing to advance, continuing to learn, continuing to grow. I'm just checking. I do have, those are the 5 steps from my 6-month private coaching practice, which I'll tell you about in a minute because I know a few of you have been asking, and I can see a few in the chat box as well. There's a 6-month in there, so I'll just mention it as a really quick bonus now, and that's blasting through your blocks. I think we've talked about that pretty much interweaving, but really upping yourself to become a leader in your field. Grounding in the new normal of that consistent income, and lifting your lifestyle to match that. There's so much I could talk about on that. It's not for today's call, but the impact of how you're choosing, back to point 1, to create your life, stepping into that now as much as possible, and in some ways stepping into things before you're ready is actually going to create the momentum. It's almost like collapsing the timeline on how long we thought these things were going to take to happen. We have the power. We can create and choose for these things to happen in a flash. You know, building your ongoing support network, getting mentors, having plans in place, having accountability, all of these things are absolute non-negotiables for me where I am in my business today. I've done them from start, but now even more so. So those are the 6 steps. You know, I wish we had like 10 hours. Maybe I'll do a workshop one day where I could go into more detail, but I hope that gives you a really good overview of how you can step into a professional business as a health coach and make money without burning out, because we know that I'm not into that at all. So those are the 6 steps for today. I'm going to take questions here in a moment, and while you start to type those into the chat box, which you can start doing now, there does tend to be, I'm not sure how long it is today because I haven't paid too much attention to the chat box till now. There does tend to be a 30 or 40-second delay with webinar jams. So while I'm waiting for those questions to come through, I'd love to take a moment just to tell you about my private 6-month program. Many of you have already emailed me, so sorry I couldn't get back to you all individually, but you can hear it now, and I'm very excited about this new program. You know, I didn't give you so much of a background before, but this unfolded for me, like I said, because more and more clients were asking for business coaching, and I've now coached probably about 25, maybe 30 women through this process. Some of them on a shorter term scale though. So, and what I've really got into reality about now is just how long it took me. It's not going to take you as long as it took me, because I went out there and invested every cent I made and learnt, and you know, went overseas, and I just got all this knowledge, and I also learnt the hard way. I spent a lot of time on the couch with no job, staring at the wall, going, I would do anything to make this business happen, but I don't have the tools. And as you've heard me say, I went and searched and searched and searched. So the reality is that, you know, for most people this is going to take 6 months to actually be making, actually no, let me reframe that. You'll be making 5K a month much sooner than 6 months to get the full structure, your full marketing plan set up like a business, the full structures all of those things in place, and to have it so in place that you are accountable and that everything's up and running as a business. By the way, I don't mean to sound like business is like scary. Business is awesome when you do it from a feminine place. It's just my way of saying to, I guess, make it, serious, because we've got serious messages for the world. So, also on my site, if that site that I just let you know of, there's testimonials on there from current clients. That'll answer all of the questions that are probably coming through. I just want to say one more thing really that wraps up my program, but also what we've talked about today. And this is really important for your power. My program is designed to get you to $5,000 per month as a health coach. And ultimately, the results are up to you. Like, I'm not, here to give you any false hope or false advertising. I know what worked for me, and I know what works for many of my health coach friends, and I know what is working for my clients. When they follow the system and when they get themselves, when I got myself the best business mentorship and the guidance that's really needed to get these results, like, that's the first step. And then ultimately it's up to you. You've got to have the passion. You've got to have the fire in your belly to get those same results for you. Only you can make that happen. But one thing I do know for sure is that health coaches can and are making 5K months consistently, plus a lot more, by following these strategies. 5K really is, like I said, it's my conservative kind of mark of this is where you can get to by following these and implementing anything when you're starting out. It's something I've done in my own life, and I've supported many others, to do the same now in this way. So if you have that kind of fire, that you just know that you're going to make this work, no matter what, then obviously combined with my support, experience, and business systems, then this is going to make a wonderful outcome. So any financial success is ultimately up to you. And it's been my experience that when we're coached, when we're held accountable by a mentor, ideally 2 steps ahead, which is something you learn from me in my theory there, that's when results happen. I can't guarantee your income, but I can guarantee that you'll be getting shortcuts no matter what. I can guarantee that you won't need to invest all the time and all the money that I did to learn this and to do this for myself. When we work together in this partnership, you do what it takes to make it happen, but you basically take all of that time in learning and in financial investment that I've done. So, we talked a bit about ideal client, and like, my coaching isn't for everyone either. And I'll say this, before people do email me, a lot of people think that signing up for coaching, will get them to the 5K month. That's not who I'm looking for. You're not buying your way into a 5K month, so please don't sign up for a discovery session with me if that's the mindset. I can't make that happen for you. Who I am looking for are health coaches who absolutely know within themselves that they deserve and are here to make more money, who are so passionate about health coaching that they just don't know what the internet structures and the marketing systems are that really will get their message out to the world and make a true impact. You're the ones who want to roll up your sleeves and are willing to do the work for it. You're determined to get your own financial success. You don't want to be relying on other people's paychecks. You want to create this for yourself. And, based on smart mentoring and coaching in these areas, you will do exactly that. So, if that sounds like you, then please do sign up with a discovery session. I'm looking for those people with the fire in their belly. Obviously, there's 8 discovery sessions there, and there's only so many clients from that I can take. So if you think this is you, like, this is you and me for the next 6 months. And, I'm not going to say, quit your job right now and we'll have this happening. But in 6 months, let's be real. We're following a strategy. We're following a plan. You've got the fire in your belly. It's not even Christmas. It's going to be like September. Think of the advancement that you would have made as opposed to just sitting there by yourself. So, if you'd like my support on that, email me at amanda@fuellivingwellness.com or book straight in using the link that Joanna's put in the chat box. Now, how exciting I get to answer your questions. Now let me have a look through. I try not to look at this as I was going, but I didn't want to turn it off in case it didn't come back up. Any more questions? Do put them in the chat box. I'll read a few of the comments as I go, without names. It's all confidential. Someone said a little bit earlier on, this is completely what's happening to me. I'm a little deflated comparing myself to everyone's success, not sure how to get there. This is one of the biggest killers as health coaches, as people working in the online space. We need to come from a place of creation in our business, not competition. And I hear people say that who aren't, living that way, and we all want to be that, but seriously, this is how I work with my clients. I say it's almost like going into a cave and you just creating what it is that you want to create. It's coming, we get you into your unique voice, your unique purpose, your real message, and you just get out there and create that. And we get so clear that there are clients out there right now today who are literally waiting for you to show up and say this. When you know that and you trust that, then you just create your own thing and you're not worried about what anyone else is doing. The comparison is coming in because it's not coming from within. It's that you've already seen these other things and then you're comparing yours to them. And yeah, it's deflating. I've been there, I've done it. All my clients say it's not like anyone doesn't do it, but it's not where the powerful business and powerful message changes are going to come from. What else have we got in here? Lovely to see people from California on here. I was there just 2 weeks ago. Favorite place? Really good point that someone put in here. It's not so much on our topic, but talking about not having been proud and owning being a coach and not really telling people. And especially at the beginning, like sometimes people are worried, what if someone says to you, how many clients have you got? These are all the pieces. It's such, I didn't say it before, I can't believe it because I say it every day about 10 times. Being in our business of this type is the biggest personal development journey literally on earth. It really is. And there is no way that anyone's going to sign up for you if you're not telling them this is what you do and if you don't feel confident and proud of it. I will say on that comment actually that for some of my clients, not all, some of my clients have got into health coaching because it's given them a model of being able to work for themselves, being able to make money for themselves. They're into health, they're into personal change, etc. But when they get into it, they find they don't actually want to be a health coach. They want to be a coach, but they actually have so many other parts of them that they want to bring forward. And for some people, they feel like a fraud because it's not the green veggie that made a difference in their life. It was, say, the spiritual practice, or it was more the physical element, or the mindset change. So this is where that first step, getting really clear on who you are, going into step 2 of your unique brands and packages, some people are holding back and not proud of it because it's not really aligned with what they really believe. So they've learnt one system that's not necessarily in line with what they want to be teaching. But sometimes they don't know that until we, get honest. Zena, there's a question from you there about, my opinion of best health coaching skills. Flip me an email and we'll talk about that. It really comes down to your personal needs, so I won't go into pros and cons of them all on this call. My favorite question. When it comes to branding yourself, should your website be your brand name or your name? Anyone who knows me knows this is my favorite question. Is one more beneficial than the other? I have strong opinions on this and there's no right answer. And I laugh because I don't even have my own name, and I wanted to do it a year ago and I should have. The truth is, for most of us as personal brands, 9 times out of 10 we're going to wish we had our name. And I say that because we might start off as a health coach and there's many years ahead. And so if you set up something, as I have, Fuel Live and Wellness, and then I decide next year to be a marriage counsellor, which, I don't know, who knows, something happens and I don't want to say marriage, it might jinx my marriage, I don't know, something happens, friends or something, and all of a sudden I become a friendship coach or something, and what's that got to do with it? So you can spend a lot of time at the beginning, it takes a while to work out what you're really into. For me, it was a combination of different clients that were coming to me to see, actually, I want to bring the business side in as well. So you can lock yourself in some ways if you've got a URL that's not your name, whereas your name is setting you up as an expert, a personal brand from the start, and then you can flow with your different products. You can have a health offering, or you could change to a business offering or whatever along the way underneath. When I actually went to do that a year ago, there was one big hurdle, that when you're first getting known, people won't necessarily click on your name if they don't know you. Whereas if it did say, for example, well, for mine, Fuel, Live and Wellness, people clicked on that on other blogs and then came because they were into wellness. So the short answer is there's no right answer, which is why it's my favorite one. But we tend to get pretty clear on that when we work one-on-one through those first few weeks, a few months, sorry. We get pretty clear on which way you're going to go. You know, if it's more of a personal brand, what your bigger vision is over the life. Not that we know what's coming in life, but do you know what I mean? I hope that helps answer that. Yeah, I think I covered the step 3. Sorry if that was confusing. Do you need to complete a health coach program to be a health coach? I have various training, but not a specific program. Is it more how you brand your product? Maybe naming it something different. It's never as simple as naming something different. Essentially, when I work with people in that step 2 on unique branding and unique packages, it's bringing forth just what's true to you, what you're actually going to be teaching people on anyway, being more honest about that, not hiding from that, and creating that into a product that your niche that we find is actually really already searching for. The question on do you need to complete a health coaching program, it's completely up to you. I don't know your legalities of where you are for practice reasons, etc. All I do know is that there's plenty of coaches out there. It's a good and a bad of the coaching industry. There's too many coaches out there without qualifications, but what I'm trying to say is a qualification doesn't make you a good coach either. So to me, there's a personal integrity piece there about what you have already. I do coach people. It's not a prerequisite to have a health coaching program. In fact, a few of my clients are people like stylists who are wanting to be a life coach now, or someone who trained to be, what was she first, like more of a designer and wanting to be coaching now. There's no reason in that instance why, if you're 2 steps ahead of someone and you're in all integrity and you've got your training and you've got the skills, but saying that out loud, you've got to be, in my mind, careful. I just don't like that side of the coaching world where anyone can be a coach. I'll tell you what, though, people can feel it. And when you're genuine and when you get your marketing clear and when you come from your truth, when you do like discovery sessions like I've offered anyone who really wants to work with me in this way, you be open. I'll be on there. I'll tell you anything about me pretty much that you want to know, and there's all transparency here. And when you come from that place as well, then you just stick with that. You stick with your authenticity. If you're ready to go and you've got something to offer the world. The other thing is there's other coaching programs, not just health coaching. If you decide, actually, I find I'm more into relationships, so sometimes it's about looking around, not just at what you've seen other people do, but what's right for you. And that was in my 5th step of continuing to go pro. I think we always need to keep training. I'm doing a year this year in transformational coaching, which does that help my business training? Well, of course it does. But I'm not selling myself as a transformational coach, from that training. It's just enhancing my skills of how I can help people, enhancing, honestly, all personal development that you do on your business and growth is actually enhancing you as the woman and as the business owner. And, that's where the personal journey comes into it, really, for me. I hope that answers that. There's a question there about starting out with not a lot of money. I'm going to be, in all honesty, this is one of the reasons why I don't encourage my clients to leave work, and I know this isn't the case for this person, so this is just more of a blanket answer. In general, you need money to live in life. You need money to make a change, and you need money to build a business and get the mentoring, etc., that you desire. To make that change. And this is why I interweave and interlace wealth consciousness through all my programs, because there is, like I say, getting your wealthy healthy. I don't think that there's many people who are struggling with money who are really ultimately lit up and happy in their health. Now, that's not to the question that came in. The question, that I can see there is, I don't currently have a lot of money for this kind of thing. I've got people to support. Where's the first place to start? Honestly, suck up everything you can online. There's a lot of free content out there. If you were to, there's enough in here. There's an hour training here today. Yes, we haven't gone into detail. There's an hour training there that you could still implement probably for the next 4 weeks. And I had a lot of friends who were entrepreneurs who did this in the first thing, who would go to any free event, any webinar, etc. The difference is, if you've really got that fire in your belly, like I was saying at the bottom, you'll do anything to put those into place. And that's the difference. And I'm, again, going to pull it away from this person, but saying to others, if money's an excuse, then fine, and maybe some wealth consciousness work is good first. But if you genuinely don't have any money at the moment, don't let that stop you. Get out there and look for, like these free things. I hope to be able to offer these, maybe more ongoing. It's something I'm exploring at the moment. And look, if you were to turn up for every one of those and get an hour, I don't know, say once a month or something, then that would be a really good way to start. And what are other things? Yeah, other people as well. Like I've obviously presented today like a high-end business offering, and I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to create that as something that everyone can get at a lower price point. But I'm certainly not the only coach out there either. So look at different people. Ultimately, though, any investment, I would say in that light, because I didn't have money to do this at the beginning, don't go spending $200 here, $500 here, $800 here on little online programs that you won't implement. Save up, if that's the case, for a year or 6 months until you can get the honest, like one-on-one private attention, if that's what you know it's going to take. Like, be unapologetic. If that's what's true for you, then save up and wait. If it's not, then get on the freebies and implement all you can. Everyone's different. Linda, send me an email about your question privately, and I'll answer that. Okay, this is a good question. How many days, hours per week do you think is achievable to reach $5,000 a month? And how much time do you spend on self-care per week? Oh, that's an awesome question. I wish I knew who that was from. I could talk forever on that second part. The reason I'm laughing is I think it's directly proportional to how busy you get. Self-care, I'm going to jump to that bit first. Self-care is absolutely non-negotiable. Absolutely. Look, I got into health coaching obviously because I was so passionate about health, the changes it had made in my life, my energy, and it was all about self-care. My first message was all about not burning out and looking after yourself. I can tell you now, the busier I've got and the more my business is growing, self-care is now absolutely non-negotiable, to the stage where I'm not saying this like it's non-negotiable. Everything, including my business, will actually crumble if I don't keep up that self-care. The depth of that's maybe too much to go into here, but energetically, to serve the amount of people that I am now and be able to hold, say, a 6-month relationship container with people, my energetic, if you want, vibration has to be high. To be able to get this message to help people, it has to be high, and that comes from self-care. I'm going to give you an example, and it's the reason I laughed. About 5-6 weeks ago, I'd been very, very busy, and it started to catch up on me again. And I literally spent Friday night like a massage and an early night in bed. I can't even remember. I wrote a blog post and I didn't publish it. I think I did about 6 healing modalities that weekend. And that's what it took. There was acupuncture, there was energy healing, there was big long sleeps, there was walks out in the up around the cliff. There was everything. Self-care is actually, we're energy beings. And when you get to the stage where you are coaching, you've got to find your own level. And for me, this has been a matter of growing into this. How many clients I can comfortably work with at a time. When you literally are giving and giving and giving as a coach, you need to be receiving more than you are. And if you get into a thriving practice where you're coaching maybe like 25 clients a week as an example, you should be receiving more than 25 hours for yourself to make that an energetic, almost match. Now, there's techniques that I certainly work with my clients on and have done for myself where it doesn't feel like I'm giving for 25 hours a week, not at all. I'm very clear on how to manage my energy around that, and I'm also very clear on who I work with for that reason. A lot of the burnt out corporate women were draining my energy. The real go-getters, the real people with the fire in their belly who will suck up everything, not in a bad way, but want all the juicy business info I've got and are running with it themselves, they light me up. And in general, I'm more on fire after a day full of coaching than I would be afterwards. So self-care is everything. Right down to the surroundings, your house, who you're hanging out with, all of that self-care. Your question, how many days, hours per week do you think is achievable to reach $5,000 a month? I was going to work this out for you before, and I'm happy to do it. It totally comes down to how much you charge for your packages, and I work with clients on energetic pricing, and by that I mean whatever price you're at, not what the price the school told you, not what people in your community are charging, what's right for you. I just don't have the time actually to do the math on this, but as an example, $5,000, let me try to do it in my head, a month, you would be needing to get it builds. So it would start, you'd be getting that once you got up to probably around 12 clients. But it depends on your pricing. And there's different ways as well. That would be, say, on a 12-week program, but there's different formulas. Again, you don't just have to do a 12-week program. You can do day-long intensives, or you can do 3-month programs, or you can do 4-session programs. Again, I work with clients to actually get aligned in themselves on this, on what they want to be offering. Some people, like, for example, last year I never would have offered a 6-month program. I wasn't lit up or excited by that, whereas now I am. Now I'm like, I just want to work with a select few who are really going to do this, and I can really make that change, because I see that as the biggest way to make the ripple effect in the world. So I hope that helps. Happy if it's something you want to work with me one-on-one on, who asked that question. Jump on a discovery call and we can, of course, work that out for you in that call. Is there any more questions? Would you work with a life coach? Yes. So this is something, when I started marketing this, do I make it just for health coaches? Most of my clients are health coaches, and I was a health coach. And because this is where the personal brand comes in, because I'm so passionate about health and self-care, that's the area that I've chosen, to work with. However, yes, I do work with life coaches, depending on, I would need to do that discovery session first with you to check more about what it is that you're into in coaching. But currently, probably 25% of my clients are life coaches, and it's for that reason that I said before as well. A lot of people either come to me one way and wanting to be a coach, like a stylist or a designer first, or a lot of people to start with have got into health coaching but are actually wanting to be more of a life coach or more of a holistic coach. So that there's no real line there for me, but I would like to chat to you further about doing that. Awesome. What's this last one? Okay, there's a question here, and I probably should have made a bigger deal on this in the beginning, and I'm going to probably wrap up with this because it's very, very important. So I'm glad that we're wrapping up on a bit more content. Someone has said to me, it sounds like everything for them, but they're not 100% clear on their target market yet. And I should almost apologize that didn't come through more, because ultimately the two biggest pieces for me, and why my coaching is different than anything you'll find in the business space, is getting really clear on you and your purpose, and then getting clear on your target market and niche. And I'm aware that I kind of skipped over that for being able to fit it into 5 steps. But ultimately, without a target market and a niche, you've got nothing. Really good reflection for me to see. That should have been a bigger deal, because that's what I help people with. This is the key. When you work out who you are, what your why is in the world, what your message is, what your purpose, and then when we work together to work out who is your dream client. And I guarantee when we do it this way, that this client is already out there and they're already waiting for you. And this is where our eyes open. When we realize that what we've already got within and who we honestly are, not what we're trying to copy, when we realize what we honestly are, who we truly are, matches exactly what people are already in pain for and can't find a solution with, this is when that magnet just goes click, and then from there we create your brand, your packages, your copy, your offer, your marketing. All of that stuff then is me more teaching the online marketing strategies that get your message out to the world. That's the reason why there's such an emphasis in the first few months of my program on going deeper on who you are and your target market. That interestingly might not even actually be on my site, which is a huge oversight, and my apologies. I've pulled that together for you all, so that you had it for today. The program wasn't meant to launch for a few more days. So absolutely, to answer your question, if that's what's hesitating you signing up because you don't have clarity on your market, that's why you need to sign up. Without clarity on why you're different and who your niche is, you will be out there struggling in like a sea of everybody else. You should never be taking opinions from other people. You should more be being honest about who you like working with. And it's why I'm straight up as well. I won't take on clients who don't, essentially float my boat, as someone wrote in the comments before, like, I want to get excited about who I'm going to work with, and I want you to be excited. Again, we're creating a business that fuels us, not one just to make money, or not just one to help because we feel like we should help. We follow our heart. We follow and we fuel. We create a business that fuels us. That's the point. And by doing so, that's stepping into our purpose, and that is what others are looking for, and that is the change that we will make in the world. So I am so glad that someone asked that right at the end. And look, maybe it's just a sign that maybe another webinar is in order around target market, because I could speak for hours on the importance of target market. So if nobody has any further questions, which I don't think anybody does, I know it takes about 30 seconds, but I think we're pretty good, then I would like to thank you all so much for spending almost an hour and a half with me here today. It's been my pleasure. This is obviously something that I'm so passionate about, and it has been growing for a long time in the background for my business and with clients. And to that stage, that's what you learn too, where I can't hold this back from everyone else. There's so many of you out there with messages to share who are getting disillusioned by not knowing where you fit, not knowing how to get it out there, and not knowing how to make money. And for me, that would be the biggest shame if you have gone and spent money and invested in a health coaching or a nutrition program that you wanted to make a difference in the world, and it lit you up, and then you got deflated and pulled back because you felt like you didn't know how to make money and got disillusioned that wasn't possible. It absolutely is. $5,000 per month as a health coach is a very realistic goal. And if you'd like to work with me, like I said, to help you do that one-on-one, email me, amanda@fuel11wellness.com, or check out the site that's in the chat box to see that full program that I've been talking about. And if not, hopefully, like I say, it's all unfolding by the day, but maybe it might be nice to get on and do another webinar soon on perhaps target market, or email me if there's anything in particular. It's more your kind of thing, just to turn up on a webinar and be inspired once a month or something. Send me an email. I'd love to know, is that of interest to people for me to do regularly? And if so, what topics would you like me to cover? And I wish I could see all your faces, and I can't. So thank you all so much for being on the call, and to all of you who have stayed right to the end, and to everyone who's listening to the replay afterwards, thank you again. And any questions or comments at all, I'm here for you. Reach out. Have a great day or night. See ya.